Today on the Daily Scoop podcast from the Scoop News Group, U.S. agencies publish plans to comply with the White House's AI governance memo. And the GAO calls out issues with the Education Department's new FAFSA Processing System. It's Thursday, September 26, 2024. Welcome to the Daily Scoop podcast, where you'll hear the latest news and trends facing government leaders. I'm the host of the Daily Scoop podcast, Billy Mitchell. Thanks so much for joining me. Let's get to today's top headlines. Federal agencies across the government have posted their plans to comply with an Office of Management and Budget memo on artificial intelligence governance, providing a window into what risk management and reporting practices will look like in the executive branch. The compliance plans, which were due 180 days following the finalization of OMB's M2410 memo, outline steps each covered agency plans to take when it comes to updating their internal policies, collecting information for their AI use case inventories, removing barriers to responsible use of AI tools, and determining whether a use is rights or safety impacting, among other things. Each agency was required by Tuesday to post their initial compliance plan publicly on their website or publish a determination that the agency doesn't use or anticipating using any AI covered by the memo. Those plans will be updated every 2 years until 2036. The plans come as several other deadlines are approaching under the AI memo. By October 15th, agencies have to submit extension requests for rights and safety impacting uses as defined under the memo if they can't feasibly meet the minimum risk management practices by the December 1st deadline. Agencies must also publish their updated annual AI use case inventories by December 16th, per finalized guidance released by the White House. In other news, delays and errors were among the, quote, troubling issues identified with the Department of Education's new system for its free application for federal student aid, or FAFSA form, the Government Accountability Office said this week. In a report and congressional testimony released Tuesday, the GAO said the education agency's Office of Federal Student Aid pinpointed and addressed defects in the FAFSA processing system before deployment, but continued to find numerous defects after its launch. FSA currently has 20 unresolved issues with the FPS system, including those of critical, high, and medium severity. During a House Education and the Workforce Subcommittee hearing Tuesday, Marisol Cruz-Kane, GAO's Director of IT and Cybersecurity, highlighted a recommendation in the report to assist with the agency's current incremental deployment approach. An example of bad functionality noted in the GAO report were instances of the FSA overestimating some students' aid eligibility, quote, by erroneously excluding their families' assets from the calculation. FSA reported that the error affected a small number of applicants and that the agency addressed errors when forms were processed. For more news at the intersection of the federal government and technology, visit fedscoop.com. Thanks so much for tuning in to another episode of the Daily Scoop podcast, available on all podcast platforms. If you've already rated the podcast on your platform of choice, thanks so much. High ratings and good reviews of the show help more people to find it. The Daily Scoop podcast is a production of the Scoop News Group in Washington, D.C. Adam Butler and Carlin Fisher help put the show together, and the entire Scoop News Group team contributes. We'll be back tomorrow with more top headlines. Until then, I'm your host, Billy Mitchell. Thanks so much for listening.